All right, now let's talk about the home inspection for buyers. The home inspection for buyers is a super important stage of the process. And it's not just the home inspection. It's the due diligence period, which is from the first day you go under contract to however many days your realtor negotiates for you. Standard in Arizona written into the contract is 10 days, but it can be shorter or it can be longer, whatever seems to be the need for that property. And depending on the need, like I just have one now that had to have water tests. And in Arizona, if you're a VA loan, and I think also FHA, but for sure VA, you need to have the water tests done and they have to pass for the loan to proceed. And obviously, if the water tests don't pass and it comes back with high lead, E. coli, arsenic, any of those things that are bad, then you have to negotiate with the seller on resolving the problem, or you have to cancel because you don't own the house. There's nothing you can do. So if the seller's not willing to address the problem, you gotta cancel. So it's kind of a rough spot in the whole due diligence period. Thankfully, my last one just passed. I knew the house because I had helped the seller buy it. So I was pretty sure that the water filtration system was okay and was continuing to resolve any issues, and it did. But typically, home inspections, the due diligence period is 10 days. And during that period of time, the buyer has the right to schedule and do any and all inspections that they want to or need to do for lender requirements on their property. So that would be standard home inspection. So there's the home inspector looking in every nook and cranny of your house. I mean, every nook and cranny of your house. They test everything. And what I may do is put I think I'll do this, is put a, so to speak, redacted. I will take the address and people's names out, but I will give you a home inspection so you can see just how detailed they can get. And some home inspectors are even more detailed than others, so just keep that in mind. As I said, home inspectors can kill a deal because it scares the buyer. There's too many things on the list and like, oh my Lord. And of course, keep this in mind, a home inspector will put for electrical, roof, everything, and I'm talking everything, even a light bulb missing, please check with a certified professional. It's a light bulb, but they have to cover their, you know what? Their booty. So they put that on everything, which scares people away. You're like, oh my God, I have to have an electrician come out and check this outlet, make sure it's working, or this light fixture. I know you just put a bulb in there. It's okay. But it can scare people. So we have to be very aware of that as the seller, and as agents, both sides, we need to really work closely with our clients so they understand. So we've got the home inspection. We have the termite inspection. Now the termite inspection is pretty easy. And again, if it shows up that there's termites, the seller is responsible for addressing that period. Again, I have a client right now who's just like Johnny on the spot, and she has already had the pest control company that comes out once a month check her house for termites, and they've already said there aren't any, which is a good thing, because then if the buyer says, oh no, my termite inspector found termites, be like, where? Because I just had that checked and we didn't have any. So sometimes you do have to have some stuff to protect yourself. So again, they can have the HVAC company come out and check your HVAC, especially if it's older. They can have somebody come out and look at the roof. And usually if we have concerns about the roof, we're going to want to have at least 2 estimates, or at least 2 roofing companies come out and look. You don't want to go by just one. And honestly, I'm just going to be honest, roofing companies can be a little questionable. So I always like to have at least 2 and often 3 estimates on roofs, because I'm just saying, roofing companies can be not always the most honest. And I have examples of that. And then, brain went somewhere. Talking about, I'm on vacation. My brain does not want to play this game today. So those are the primary inspections: home inspection, termite inspection, well inspection, roof, HVAC, that type of thing. If there's a serious question maybe in regards to the electrical panel or any electrical issues, you could have an electrician come out. I only think I've had one property that I was working on that the electrical was a little sketchy. And part of the reason that we wanted it checked by an electrician was also because the potential buyer was looking at expanding and maybe using that space and making a bigger kitchen type thing. And they want to make sure, do I have to add to the electrical box? But again, it was a really old property, so we just wanted the electrical checked. But once the home inspection comes back to the buyer sits all these inspections. We'll get all the inspections, and we share all that with the seller and the agent. So the buyer's agent, the realtor for the buyer, shares that with the listing agent. The listing agent shares it with the seller. So there's no surprises like, what are you asking for? Where is this? I don't see it. So they have all the information. And then we sit down and go through it in detail. And I'm looking for problems. And that's part of the reason that I always tell you, why are you following your clients so closely? I am looking for issues. I'm looking for issues because that is going to impact the offer. It is. And a buyer comes in and goes, oh my God, oh, it's so beautiful. I just love it. I love it. And that's great. We want them to say that. However, I'm coming along going, did you notice that closet door doesn't close properly? It's not aligned properly. Did you notice that looks like there was a leak over there in that corner, and there's, grouts missing all around the tub. Tiles are loose. That sink is leaking. I can see. I mean, look at that. Just stuff. And I am responsible to help them make a good offer out the gate, not negotiate reducing the price or credits later. We want to make an offer based on the house as we see it. So I'm looking for trouble. I'm looking for problems, which is easy for me because it's just what I do. I always am looking for, where are the issues? Where are the problems? This is not the best video, like lighting. I'm so sorry, but I'm outside and I don't have my little extender thing, and I don't have my ring light. So this is what you get, people. Oh, it's kind of the best spot. I like it. So that's part of why I follow my clients around so closely, is that I'm not oohing and eyeing, but I do point out things that are good things about the house too, so that they're seeing the whole picture, the big picture. So we get the home inspections, we get all those inspections, we're gathering all this stuff, we're getting the estimates if we had those, but we're sending the inspection reports as we get them. We don't send the estimates yet. So my clients and I, we sit down, we go through all of the inspection information we've got. And I always tell my clients, and I don't know that this is how all agents do it, but honestly, if you want to buy the house, you want the deal to keep going, and you don't want to piss off the seller or offend the seller or, go, oh my God, now I have to decide. They're not going to do anything. Do I keep it? Yeah, we'll get to that part. So I tell my clients, focus on the big ticket items. Big ticket items first. Roofs, HVAC, water heaters, major flooring issues, windows, paint. Again, things that are going to make or break you as the buyer, like expense-wise, and two, have to be addressed for the loan. So if there's peeling paint and loose boards, say on a deck or patio or steps, I actually had one where there was no railing on the patio, and it was like 3.5 feet off the ground. Like if you fell off the edge of that, it was going to hurt when you landed. And they had to put up railings to pass the VA appraisal. So these are things you call out. These are the things they have to fix so the buyer can proceed with the loan. I mean, it's not optional. And there's ways we can work with that and put some money in the offer to reimburse the seller for some things, but that's a whole nother story. So we focus on the big ticket items. And then realistically, if you're going to be a homeowner, you got to be willing to do some minor repairs. I'm just saying. Now, the worst clients I've ever had are people that are in their 50s that have rented their whole life. They have never owned a house. And they moved into houses that were completely cleaned out. And anytime there was something that wasn't working, they just called the landlord and they fixed it. And those were my worst clients because they expected everything on that home inspection to be fixed. Because that's what you're supposed to do, like a landlord. And I'm like, that's not what sellers do. But those were my worst clients because they just didn't understand that this is not a landlord-tenant situation. You know, this is not I'm walking in noting all the issues so that I don't get in trouble for them later when I move out. Worst clients ever. Anyway, so you focus on the big ticket items. Little things we talk about, is it something that's going to cost you money, like hiring somebody to fix it? Or is this thing in yourself? You know, replace that light switch cover that's broken. You know, caulk around your tub. Learn how to use that caulking gun. You know, being a homeowner means you got to learn DIY. Okay, but you're not going to be out there fixing your HVAC. You're not going to be up there climbing on your roof, I hope. You're not going to be replacing your water heater. So you definitely want those things addressed. And what we do is we write the list of things we want the seller to address. If we have estimates on the repairs, we send them with the buyer inspection notice. And then you ask for the seller to repair, replace, or remove X items. And that's back and forth. You and the other realtor are going to be talking to try and negotiate a good deal that's going to keep things together versus you send it and you never talk to each other. That's going to end badly because I want my client to get their house. I want them to get their house. So we have that conversation. And because of that conversation, when the seller's response comes back to us, it's a response that I can present to my buyer and pretty much know that they're going to say yes. Because when that response comes back from the seller, your client, the buyer, has two choices. Yes, I accept the seller's response, or no, I don't, and I'm canceling the deal. And that's a hard one. That's a hard one because, some sellers are not reasonable because they're like, oh, why should I fix it? I'm not going to be living there. But do you want to sell your house? And two, why would you expect the buyer who has just spent all this money on inspections and appraisal, down payment, closing costs, to come up with another few $1,000s to repair something in your house that you've been living in for 30 years? Those are my worst clients too, or some of the people that lived in their homes forever and are not great at maintenance. Like, well, I'm not gonna be living here. I ain't spending no money on that. I have no money. Well, we gotta figure out something. So it's really in the best interest of both the seller and the buyer to come together and agree to something that's gonna work. Now, sometimes a seller can't afford to fix things. And if they can't afford to fix it, and it's not something that's going to get in the way of an appraisal, and it doesn't make the house unlivable, then the seller can do a credit to the buyer, and then that's less money the buyer has to bring to the table, which means they then have the money to do the repair. It's fair. Another way around it is that the seller's like, I will do the repair, I will do the fix, but I need the money back. And then at times we have increased the purchase price, obviously not outside of what the appraisal will allow. And that money then, sorry about that, then the money, so you say you increase, you need to get the paint done so that it passes the appraisal. And the paint is going to cost $3,000 to get the parts that need to be painted. And I'm talking peeling paint or a deck that needs to be repaired. And so we increase the purchase price by $3,000. The seller has to put the money out on the front end unless the vendor is willing to be paid through escrow, which does happen from time to time, but you can't guarantee that. And then that $3,000 extra that you paid in purchase price goes back to the seller to reimburse them for the repair that they did. That's an example. So there's ways to work with it. If your client loves the house and the seller wants to sell, or if I have the seller and they're like, yes, I really want to sell this thing, I need to get it off, I need it to be gone, then we will work it out. We will work it out because it's the most important thing. Now, here's what you have to remember. Very important. Your buyer has one house they want to buy, and your seller has one house they want to sell. I have many buyers. I have many sellers. I have a lot of houses I'm working with. They each have one. It's very important to them. Very important. This is the house, their only house they're focused on. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we do everything that we can ethically, legally, in our skill set to keep things moving forward. I hope that this was helpful. Home inspections, that due diligence period can make or break a transaction, a sale of a home, a purchase of a home. And so I really can't stress enough being prepared as a seller and being prepared as a buyer to be reasonable on both sides, really. Because ultimately the goal is to sell your house. If you put it on the market, I would hope ultimately your goal is to sell the house. And if you are interested and put an offer in on the house, that ultimately your goal is to buy that house. Okay? So that's my two bits, whatever, opinion, recommendations, suggestions regarding home inspections and how to work through that, how to prepare for that, how to be thinking about that process. Because it is the most important part potentially in making or breaking a deal once it's under contract. All right, have a blessed and glorious day. I am now going to return to my vacation and we'll see you on the other side.